Okay, so the class is being recorded, and my name again is Dr. Samah, and this is EL112 summer. And this is, I gather, our 9th class, right? We didn't do it. We had a class on Sunday, but for medical reasons, I couldn't make it. We're making up for this class, inshallah, and we're meeting as scheduled tomorrow, inshallah, at 2 p.m. Okay, so we're done with the first 3 units, and you were kind of tested on them in the midterm exam, which I hope you have aced. And we also did quiz 2, which I hope you have aced too. um, uh, Inshallah, what is left in terms of assessments? We still have the final exam, which is obviously out of 50 marks, and 50 marks is so big, they can make or break. Okay, so what is it that we're doing this time around? We're remember what we did. We left the writing of unit 3 because there was no writing in the MTA. So we're going to keep the writing of unit 3 and move to 4, and we will do the writing of 4 and 3 together because they are, kind of relevant and similar. So we're moving to unit 4, and the title of unit 4 is identity. And I wouldn't be spoiling it if I say that identity is similar to culture, which what unit 3 was all about. Remember, unit 3 we spoke about culture, different cultures, cultural diversity, and all those nice things. Today and perhaps tomorrow, we will be focusing on identity. So whatever that means, what do I mean? What comes to your mind? What are the associations of the word identity? What does it trigger at the back of your minds? Come to the mic and share. When I say identity, what does it mean? Obviously, it may mean different things to different people, I know.
Maybe,
Identity. Yeah, please go ahead.
sorry, personal information, maybe.
It's information. It has this element or measure of information to it, but it's not personal when we talk about I don't know, it's more of a like a DNA kind of thing, a cultural DNA. Yeah, let's have Saleh on board and see what he has to say. Saleh.
I would say probably generations. It could be something global, and generations is when people are born in same period.
Perhaps you're talking about different types of identity, but you're not unpacking what identity means.
Yes, true.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, can we have other people trying their luck? And we're not taxing, we're not judging. Come to the mic and share. When I say identity, what do we call it in Arabic? Perhaps that would make it easier. What do we call identity if we're translating it?
الهوية.
الهوية. Yes. Yes, الهوية. Yes. Even if you make it personal and personalize it and talk about your identity card, this can also give you a glimpse into what it means. What does your identity card reveal about you? Together with your name, of course, and perhaps your age, perhaps where you're from. in terms
Your
of
gender also.
country. Excuse me?
Your gender also.
Yeah, I'm saying where you're from, you mean? Yes, where you
Yes.
come from. Yeah. Sometimes your job. Okay. So this is you. This is your identity. And obviously identities differ. My identity would say something different from your identity. Identities can be unique, right? Or not. So this is on a very personal level. If you go big and talk about identity on the level of culture and on the level of nations and countries, obviously every group of people can have their own identity. When we talk, for example, about a tribe or a clan, a tribe or a clan has its own identity, and obviously it is unique and distinguishable from other clans and tribes. And then you make it big or bigger and you talk about country. Countries have their own identities. No two countries have the same identity. They may be similar, but not obviously identical. And then we go bigger and we talk on the level of culture. When we talk about Muslim culture, when we talk about Arab culture, where obviously you have a number of countries sharing the same identity. See, are you getting it? So your identity is whether it's on the level of persons or on the level of nations and countries and cultures is your DNA, if you like, where it can tell me everything about you. Okay, so let's talk about perhaps the illustration in the unit 4 is very telling and very suggestive. It can tell you a great deal. Let me share the cover of unit 4. Yeah. This is obviously the cover or part of the cover. What does it tell you, if anything? I'm sharing. Tell me, yeah, I'm sharing and I'm sure you can see that, right? What do you think? What does the picture trigger at the back of your minds, if any? Nothing? We talk about identity. What can we get from a picture like the one you have just seen? We think we're talking about identities here, Dina?
In the picture, I think I saw another culture, maybe that they are performing some kind of maybe a folk dance because they may be wearing a traditional cloth.
Yeah, they are wearing traditional clothes, and obviously we're talking about an identity. They have an identity, a cultural identity. They come from a specific part of the world. You can almost tell this from how they are dressed, like you're saying, how they are dancing. So this is a cultural identity. You can also go, perhaps you can narrow it down and you talk about women, talk about them as women, which is obviously another identity, right? You can also talk about even their age group, and obviously they look similar to me in terms of age. This is also one of their, uh, the things that distinguish them. So this is identity, and this is what we're going to talk about. So how can we know about the identity of people and nations and cultures? What are the things that when you spot or see, you say, yeah, this is Arab, this is Central Asia, this is Indian, um, perhaps Indian subcontinent, this is European, this is North American.
We noticed the clothes and costumes.
Yeah, clothes, the way they dress and how they dress, and even their dresses, their clothes, right? Yes, yeah, I quite agree. Yes. Yeah, so clothes, food, habits and customs, like Saleh is saying, right? Do you think that food and their dietary habits can also be a marker of their identities? Absolutely, yes, yes. Okay, okay. So let's talk about our culture. Which is what's so, unique and distinctive about our culture that would reveal to people from other cultures our identity. What are the cultural artifacts? Artifacts are like objects. You talk about buildings, when you talk about clothes, when you talk about so what does reveal, what is it that we have that would reveal our identity to other cultures?
I think if we are talking about Saudi, then
Yeah,
though
let's talk about Saudi Arabia, and then we perhaps talk about Arab culture. Yes.
yes, probably the thobe and shmagh.
Yeah.
We can distinguish immediately they are from Saudi.
Yeah. Now, clothes are artifacts. Yes. Objects. Yes. Okay. So let's broaden it a little bit and talk about Arab culture. Do you think the language is a marker of identity?
Yes, sure, Doctor.
Yes. Yes. Religion, we're predominantly Muslim, right? Do you think Islam and religion can be a marker of identity?
Yes, Doctor.
It can appear
Yes.
in their clothes. It's decent. It's modest.
Well, no, I beg to differ with you, Saul. I hate to differ with you. No, I love you. But, all cultures are, I mean, they are decent when it comes to clothes. So we're not talking about extreme types of clothes that are also common in all cultures. I wouldn't consider this a marker of identity, given the fact that all cultures dress moderately and dress appropriately and decently. Right. That's interesting. What you guys are saying is amazing. Let's move on. So it's identity that we're talking about, everyone. So there are many ways to define your identity, which are common in your group. If you had to choose an object that illustrated your country's identity, what would you choose? Again, we spoke about identities and what defines an identity, the things that you detect and see and spot and say, yeah, this is a marker of our identity. So let's talk about us as a group. What do we have that kind of bind us together, tie us together? What do we share as a group that can be a marker of our identity? And I'm talking about us and our immediate colleagues here, our group here. What is common among us that would make this group identity, that would also distinguish us from perhaps others? What do we share? What do we have in common? ايه المشتركات؟
Maybe, Doctor, same university that we study on.
Yeah, that can be a marker of identity. Yeah, where you learn, where you're receiving your schooling, yes, can define your identity. I agree.
And maybe the language we talk.
Yeah, maybe the language that we speak. Yeah, that too. Yes.
We are all online.
That's interesting. Yes. Yeah, the fact that we're online, and obviously there are other people out there who are meeting face to face, and yeah, can be a marker of identity. Except for me and Saleh, I think you guys share the same age group. You are all, for the most part, millennials. You know what millennials are? If you were born in 2000, 2000, and perhaps after 2000, we call you millennials. Do we have millennials in class? A little before and a little after. Perhaps 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, perhaps until 5 or even 10. Do we have millennials in class?
I think
مواليد
yes.
الألفية.
I think yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm asking if you're a millennial مولود في الحتة ديت اللي هي بتاعت 2000 and until perhaps 2005, and a little earlier if we talk about perhaps 99, 98. So if you belong to this each group, this category, raise your hand. If you're a millennial, yeah, raise your hand. I'm not a millennial. I was born like 30 years earlier ولا حاجة. Nice. I thought you guys all belong to this age group. Unless you need perhaps more clarification as what millennial means. Millennial, those who were born in 2000 or around 2000. Okay, so we have, obviously, we're having more people. Okay, right. So again, this can be defining our group culture for the most part. Okay, if you had to choose an object that illustrated your country's identity, what would you choose? Something that is unique and distinctive, مميز, in your culture, that can be a marker of your culture, of your country's identity. Um, I think Saleh said something, and I don't want him to repeat it because I want other people to think of it or think of something else. We need an object from your country that define the identity of this country. An object, a cultural object. Nawaf.
Yes, doctor. The building, the mosque, we have like Mecca and Medina.
Yes.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
unique. No,
Yeah,
there
that
is
would
no.
make absolutely. This is something very interesting. The fact that we have Mecca and Medina, and of course they are perhaps the biggest markers of identity for Saudi Arabia, for Arabs and Muslims, right? Yeah. What else?
Maybe the food also,
The
like
food that,
kabsa, for example.
yeah, it's also a marker of identity. I agree. Saleh, go ahead.
Vision 2030. I think it's
Uh,
identify Saudi very much in media.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I have seen, I mean, it's very strange, but that now every country has its own vision, which is also 2030, which is what is, let's perhaps focus more on a marker. Yani I'm sure there are so many markers in the vision. Can we focus on one that can also confirm the identity of Saudi Arabia?
Maybe our habit and the traditionals.
Our Saudi traditions and habits, which are also different from
The weather
you
and the desert,
know,
the desert
I,
and south, and the weather. It's different between the south and west of Saudi.
yeah, it's different, yes. The fact that yeah, we have deserts, even though that we have deserts everywhere, and some of them are natural, and others are created now because of what is happening with the weather, of course, global warming and all those kinds of things. Yes, yes. Let's move on
And the tourism in Saudi, it's nice now.
now. Jumana, you're saying something?
Yes, tourism اللي هي سياحة أقصد في السعودية الحين.
I don't know, but tourism is everywhere. This is not a marker, unless you talk about specific places in Saudi Arabia,
Yes,
right?
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like in
yes.
Hula or
Yeah, yes. Yeah, these are all markers of identity. Let's move. What's the focus in Unit 4? The focus in Unit 4 is on reading, and it's different types. And by reading, of course, I don't mean the noise that we make when we read. There is obviously more to reading than just that. By reading, we mean understanding something, interpreting things. Okay? So this is what we mean by reading. Of course, like I said, you can read out loud, but obviously when you read out loud and out loud and you make this organized noise, you also have a purpose. So reading is defined and set against the purpose that you set for yourself. You normally have a reason and a purpose why you're reading. And let's talk about why people read and what are the different reasons and purposes. Why do we read?
To improve our knowledge about everything.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. You're reading in order to know more about the world and about yourself. Yeah, that's Yeah. Okay. What else? Yeah. I don't know what the name is. Abdul Hadi? You're saying
To
something?
improve, yes, to improve your skill in reading and to
Yeah.
gain
You mean,
new information.
yeah, so perhaps you're reading for learning and educational purposes. Yeah. That too. Hmm. Dina?
There is a lot of things, but maybe we can say to expand our imagination and to understand ourselves, and maybe to escape and relax, to grow our language and thinking.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. You do all of that. Yes. These are different purposes and these are different reasons. Yeah, that's correct. So you can read for pleasure, right? You read a novel, and with normally if you read a novel, and you have characters and they do stuff, you fly with your imagination. You think and you imagine the places that the novel is set in. If it's about things that happen in the future, you go to the future with your imagination. If it is set in the past, you go to the past with them. You set your imagination free, like Dina is saying. This is one purpose. You read for pleasure, right? And like Abdul Hadi is saying, you read for knowledge. You're trying to gain knowledge about yourself and about the world, right? Um, you read, actually, you read for multiple purposes. Okay. So why you read? You read, for example, if you have a form or a document and you're reading it, if we have like an agreement or a contract that you're filling, and obviously you have to read it very carefully and very well, right? So we have multiple reasons as why we read. And depending on why we read, we will use a certain reading strategy or technique. Sometimes, and this is something that you may have learned in your GR classes, you speak about different types of reading. You skim, you scan, you read for detail. Have you heard of those techniques? Skimming, scanning, reading for detail? No. Okay. Right. Perhaps you're practicing them, you're doing them, but you don't know that they have those labels and names, which is fine. So again, I'm stressing the fact that depending on the purpose, you have a specific strategy for reading. So when you read the newspaper in the morning, let's talk about how much or how long does this take? How much time do you spend reading the headlines? Much time? Long time?
Few
Yeah,
seconds.
Yes.
short time.
To,
It will be
Yes.
skimming.
How much? Yeah. How much time do you spend perhaps reading the sports page? Is it going to be very serious if you don't spend too much time on the sports page? It's sports after all, right? So it's going to be also casual kind of reading where you're reading very quickly. You're not taking it very seriously because it's sports. And obviously sports is all over the place. If you miss something in the newspaper, you're going to find it uh, on TV or on YouTube, right? So you're not missing much by reading very quickly, by reading the newspaper. And so this is reading a newspaper, for example, where obviously you're skimming. Skimming means that you're reading quickly in order to get a general uh, um, overview of what is happening, right? So let's talk about exams. So you did the MTA the other day, and there was a reading passage. Did you have to read the reading passage? I'm asking you.
For me, I read first the question.
No, I'm not asking how you read.
Mm.
I'm asking, do we have to read the reading passage in an exam?
Yes, sure, to know about
Yeah,
the
I'm
topic
not.
we
No,
have. Yes.
I'm not pulling your legs. Huh? That this is not. Yeah, of course, right? Of course. My second question: should we read it carefully or not? So we have to read it because it's part of the exam. My second question: do we have to read it carefully or quickly?
Yes, carefully.
Of course, carefully. But be careful. You shouldn't be spending the rest of your life reading the passage and leave
No,
everything
actually
else,
not.
right? Yes, you should be careful in reading the passage.
But some
So again,
student they are Mr. Sameh, some student they are read the question and then go to the passage.
this is a technique. Of course, I respect that and I appreciate that because we sometimes need that in standardized exams like TOEFL, IELTS. I know. But we're talking, I mean, we're talking intuitively كده يعني إيه طبيعة الأشياء. If you have an exam and you have a reading passage, so you're going to be careful when you read it. You're going to take your time, obviously, in order to be able to, I mean, first of all, understand it fully and then go and answer the questions. Okay, I was trying to make this comparison between reading a passage in the exam and reading in the newspaper. And I'm saying that because it was the newspaper, you have the tendency to read quickly. But because it's the exam, you read slowly and more carefully. So again, I'm stressing the fact that depending on your purpose, why you're reading, depending on the context, you will choose a reading strategy. So what are the reading strategies and techniques that we have? Again, depending on our purpose. You have skimming, and skimming is reading quickly, and you don't obviously read every single word on the page. You move very quickly with your eyes on whatever you're reading, and in this case, you're reading for an overall idea. فكرة عامة, very generic kind of reading. And then you have what we call scanning. And scanning is when you read for a specific piece of information. When you scan with your eyes a text or a passage, because you're looking for a specific piece of information. It can be a number, can be a color, it can be a name, can be a piece of statistics, right? So this is called reading for a specific piece of information or scanning. And then you have reading for detail, which means that you read, you take your time, you read very fully, because you need to do that, because the whole thing is very important. You cannot really take a decision unless you read a business proposal very well. Can be a business proposal, it can be, like I said, an agreement. So you have to read it, you have to read its articles and clauses very, very well, because there are going to be ramifications if you don't read it well. This can be legal even. Okay, so these are the different types of reading that we have. I'm sure we're doing them, we're using them, but again, we're not given the names, and even the names are not important. We're not going to test you on what kind of reading you do and why stuff. What we're expecting you to do is to be able to apply and deploy those techniques so that you fully engage with a passage or a text and understand it. And this is something that would go beyond EL112, because engaging with texts is what you're going to do in your major, whether you're business or IT or even English major, right? So you need to know what you're reading and how you're going to read it. You need to know your goal. Why I'm reading? Am I reading for pleasure? Am I reading because it's very important that I read what I'm reading, and I have to fully engage with what I'm reading? Is it casual reading or serious reading? That goes with different names and labels, obviously. One of the purposes, and this is perhaps new, would be that you read for research purposes. We're asking you to write a TMA. A TMA is like an assignment. So you go and do research and come back and write your assignment. So you need to know how to read within and across research papers, for example. You read to find statistics. You know what statistics are? It's art. Again, reading comes in different forms and shapes. You need to know what you're reading and why you're reading, so that you deploy the best reading strategy. So again, when you look at the picture, what do those guys have in common? Can you see this picture? So whenever you have a picture, you need to kind of dissect the picture and break it down to its basic components. So, and whenever you talk about pictures and photos, you don't say a picture about, it's a picture of. Okay? So there is this common error that whenever people talk about pictures or photos, they say pictures about. No, this is not correct. A book is about or on. Pictures and photos are of. So this is a picture of what? People, places, things, or animals. What do you
People
think?
with the same age.
Yeah, people. Yeah. What do they have in common? The fact that they belong to the same age group. They are. And what do you think? How old do you think they are?
Teenager.
Yeah, they are teenage. I think they are a little bit bigger than teenagers. I think they are
20,
what we call,
25.
young adults, we are adults. If you have gone beyond the threshold of 20, 21, 22, you are an adult. You can be few or fewer years than that, and in this case, we call you a young adult if you're in your 18th, 19th. So those guys are young adults. And they can also be millennials. They were born around the 2000. Can be a little before or a little after. So what do you understand by the term millennials? By now we know what millennials are. And by the way, the word millennium means 1,000 years. Okay, of course you know what a decade is. Decade is 10 years. You know what a century is, which is 100 years. And we have millennia, which means 1,000 years. So people who were born around the millennia are called millennials. شباب الألفية الألفية اللي هي 2000 and you go on.
They call them also Y generation. X generation is the generation before, and Z generation is the generation comes after the millennium. So they are called Y.
I don't know. I was under the impression until you have just told me that millennials are the Z generation. I think you're correct, and I'm wrong.
Yeah, Y. Yes,
Okay.
they are Y.
Do they have a name for us in our 50s? That's all.
Yeah, they call us X.
So, of course, you know that when we talk about the, 21st century, a big marker of the 21st century, and even late 20th century, is the internet, right? And of course, with the internet, you have everything online. You have online friends, you have online learning, which what we're doing now, lots of online things. So do you have online friends in other countries? Do you have online friends and people that you perhaps have never met? You met online and you became friends. Do you have that? Perhaps you may have had the opportunity of meeting somebody physically, and then over time they left and you started meeting online. So whether you're talking about online friends that you never met or people that you met but now you're communicating with online, come to the mic and tell us. Do you have online friends? Yeah, مفيش معقول. You don't have online friends? ليه بتناموا بدري للدرجة دي يا جماعة؟ Are you sure you don't have online friends? All your friends are, people that you meet, I mean, face to face and stuff. Well, you don't have friends at all, whether
We
they
don't
are
have time.
online.
مستر سامح
We have friends, but not
مستر
online friends.
لا خلينا نشوف the fact that you guys don't have time. يعني ازاي يعني are you talking about now in summer you don't لأنه friends are long term, right?
Yes, because already I have a job and I already in college, so that's why we don't have time for online.
Like, can we live without friends? No, obviously this is very serious. لا
No,
خلينا
but I
نشوف
mean,
صح.
سامع.
You
I
mean
have
let me reply. You mean you have friends at work, yeah, Jumana? And these are
yes,
the friends that you have, but you don't have time for new friends, online friends, perhaps, right?
and
This,
already I my friend in coffee or in other house, but we don't have online friends. That's what I mean.
okay, yeah, Abdulhad.
yes, Mr. Sameh. I have a friend online by video game.
You play video games and yeah, man, you
Yes,
develop friendship. I know of so many people, even including my son. He has friends in different parts of the world, and it's all because of video games. Yeah. So hype.
Yes, I have a friend online.
Nice.
Two developers like this.
You also play video games and you develop this kind of friendship, right? Do you
Yes.
think this is, I mean, like, um, a good type of friendship? Is it tight? Is it strong friendship?
Very strong.
Online friendship. I mean, I'm talking about online friendship, online friends.
Uh, Very strong
Mm,
because
mm,
don't meet all time
mm,
and just work and just play
mm.
like this.
No. You don't have the problems of traditional friendship,
Yeah.
where sometimes you meet people, perhaps you set a date, and when you go, your friend doesn't show up, doesn't come. And of course, you feel frustrated, but perhaps online is easier. No traffic jams, right? No excuses. Yeah, nice. So, in what ways do you think the internet brings young people around the world together? Do you think that the internet brings people together? Does it bring people together or perhaps separate them? What do you think of the impact? Impact means تأثير. The impact of the internet on relationships, human relationships. Is it good news or bad news? I'm talking about the internet, and in 2 minutes, I'm going to talk about AI. So, what do you think? Do you think that the internet brought people together and now they are more or perhaps closer? Or is it, you know, keeping them away from each other? Is it good news or bad news? I'm asking everyone. Hmm. Bad news? Do you like the internet? Can you live without the internet with its different facets and aspects? Well, of course, the internet now means YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and
I
on
can't
all
live
the.
without it.
Nam?
I can't live
Zain.
without it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zaina cannot live with that because it's part of our business. It's part of our even. You also have internet banking, right? Where
Yeah.
you have to have internet to access your bank account to retrieve money, right? We're stuck. It's not. It's not your decision anymore, right? And I should be asking this question because I obviously know the answer. The answer is no. We cannot live without the internet, right? Okay, let's talk about the frequency of using the internet and what you are using the internet for. So how frequent are you in using the internet? Do you use it so often, for so long, or you use it you when you need it? Let's talk about it. In terms of hours, how many hours do you spend using the internet?
Doctor, for me, I use it for all day since I
The whole
woke up.
day. Mm.
Yes,
Is
until
it
I
because I mean your business or your work is connected with
yes,
that,
sure.
or it's because you're addicted to the internet?
Yes, since I go to the work, I use the
Mm.
internet. Then when
Mm.
I come back from the work to my home, still
Mm.
use the
You use
internet
it.
for university and all that.
Mm. Mm. Do you like it this way, or you perhaps would wish that you should have some space for other things?
I hope yes, other
Mm.
space because
Mm.
feeling so boring and to use it
Yeah.
all day. Yes.
Mm. Yes. Good. Let's have other people share their feelings and attitudes towards the internet. How often you guys use it? For how long? Mm.
From my side, I use it 50-50
Mm.
because, Mr. Sameh, there is sometime you need to use the internet and sometime you need to stop it. يعني.
Yes. It's this idea of knowing when or knowing how to stop it. And obviously, sometimes we have all the intentions there are to stop using it, but you cannot. Sometimes it's difficult, right? Given the fact that it is, all over the place. I mean, your work and business are connected to it, your education and schooling, yeah, and everything in between, obviously. So you didn't answer my question whether you think the internet brought people together or uh, kind of created distances between and among them. I'm talking about human relationships. Do you think with the internet around, we are happier or perhaps not? Are we better off having the internet? Now we can perhaps talk more. We are more connected to each other as members
For
of a
these days,
family, or is it,
uh,
you know,
uh,
taking
for,
people away from relationships? Yeah, go ahead, ya Abdulhad.
uh, for, for these days, it make especially the family distant because
Mm-hmm.
if some of the part of the family they are sitting in their room, they are not same
Mm-hmm.
as before, sitting together.
Yes, I agree. I mean, when you have all the members of the family are using their tabs or using their mobiles and they don't talk to each other, right? Yeah. Yeah, we all have this dilemma and this problem. Yes. So, according to Abdul Hadi, and perhaps I also subscribe to this idea, the internet didn't make us happier, didn't make us closer, right? This is, of course, a generalized conclusion, and we shouldn't be generalizing. We should, but perhaps this is the general feeling. Okay, So we're going to have a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we will talk more about the internet and effective reading and all those kinds. So I'll see you in 10 minutes, inshallah. Okay, can you hear me? Are we all back,
Yes.
everyone? Okay, good. So again, we're talking about the internet. We're talking about the bigger picture would be identity and markers of identity. And now we're talking about the internet and how new generations are born and raised using the internet, which is obviously now a marker of identity for millennials, people who were born in the 2000s and a little earlier and a little later. Okay. So the reason why we're also talking about the internet is that it also has benefits when it comes to reading. So you need the internet now as an amazing resource, amazing reading resource, something that you cannot ignore or overlook. So among the uses of the internet would be um, doing research. And when I talk about research, I talk about reading um, across, online material. So imagine you have been asked to do some research for a class project on the topic, is the internet creating a global youth culture? Obviously, this is what you are assigned to do research on, whether the internet is creating a global youth culture. Culture, we know. Youth means young people, shabab, and global means international, where you have people from different countries and different nations. Okay, so how does the internet help with that? So if you're assigned a project like that with this topic, obviously you don't have all the knowledge, and no, you're not born with all the knowledge there is. So in order to perhaps do well and write well, you need to do research. Again, using the internet as a resource is very important when it comes to reading. So for you to be a good writer, you also need to be a good reader. And one of the places that you go to read would be the internet. So whether you're using the internet or usual books, physical books, uh, uh, for you to be an effective reader and for effective reading to happen, you have to follow the following guidelines. What are those guidelines? Let's make it as big as we possibly can and read through them. So effective reading. So when reading in an academic context, follow these steps to read and use your time effectively. What are those steps and what are those guidelines? First of all, you need to be clear about your objectives. So what do you hope to get from the article or text? This is a question that you need to ask yourself. What do I hope to get or achieve from reading the article or text? What do I need? What specific pieces of information do I need? Am I reading it casually or am I reading it for detail, for specific information and stuff? You also need to use the title to predict what the text will be about. Titles are not chosen randomly or haphazardly. They have reasons to be there. So a title is very important and it can tell you a great deal about the article that or the book that you're reading, because titles are chosen very carefully by authors and writers. Skim, read the text by moving your eyes over it quickly to get a general idea of what it is about and if it meets your needs. Yeah, this is if we're talking about the hierarchy that we should follow reading. You're going to start with skimming, which means moving your eyes over the text very quickly in order to get a general idea of what the text is about, and then decide whether it is what you actually need, or perhaps you need to think of another material or another book. We need to also think about specific information. We're talking about facts here, or dates, or statistics. You need to scan the article by reading quickly until you find relevant information. You need to also read closely, slowly, and word by word to understand the details. If this is your aim, if this is what you're hoping to achieve, you're reading for detail. So these are guidelines that we intuitively follow when we read. Again, let's go back to the assignment or the class project, whose topic was, is the internet creating a global youth culture? Let's assume that you have started reading on the internet and you have found 6 possible articles that may help. I would like you to look at their titles and rank each article. Rank means that you say this is perhaps the most relevant to the topic, and this is perhaps the least relevant. Most relevant أكثر تعلقا بالموضوع. Least أقل relevance يعني. Okay, so these are the 5 articles, the 5 titles, or the 5 articles that you have digged, and you perhaps think that they are relevant. So I would like you to look at them and tell me which of them is the most relevant and which of them is the least relevant. Yalla, I'll give you 3 minutes for that. Remember to go all the way back. Let's make it a little smaller so that you can have both the I mean the topic and the 5 possible articles. Yalla, you guys have 5 minutes. I'm sorry, a couple of minutes. Okay, let me ask you. So which of these titles is the most relevant? And which of them is the least relevant? Okay, so which of them is the most something? One of them looks like, yeah, it looks like it could be very useful, and one of them is probably not very useful. Which of them is the most useful and which of them is the least useful? Any idea? Hmm. Are you following at all? What do you think of C? Do you think could be very useful? Do you think it might be useful? Do you think it won't be very useful? C. Are you still there, Agama? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So again, let me perhaps rephrase myself. We're talking about a class project, and the topic of this class project is the question whether the internet is creating a global youth culture. So this is the topic, and when you have a topic, you go and read about it, right? So where are you possibly going to read? You can read books. If you have a study room in your house, you can go to a public library, and you can also use the internet. So now you're using the internet and you have found 5 articles. Articles is like essays, maqalat, online. So I would like you to look at those 5 articles and tell me, actually there are 6, which of them you is the most useful, the most relevant, something that you will say, no, well, yeah, it's not relevant. ملوش علاقة بالموضوع. Hmm. So look at C, for example. Are millennials creating a global culture? Do you think this is relevant and useful? If you're doing research, if you're writing, hmm. Are you tired or something? Because you're not reacting yet. Yeah, I think it's very relevant and it's very useful. Are millennials creating a global culture? Because the topic is about whether the internet is creating a global youth culture. So I'll go and read the book and see whether it will give me information about that. Statistics, for example, illustrations and examples, life experiences, um, right? Testimonials. How about television, the internet, and popular culture? I think it has something when we talk about the internet, and the title of the book has the internet in it, right? Okay. So again, what is it that we're trying to learn here? We're trying to learn to be relevant. Okay? Relevant means that if I ask you to write about the Arab Open University, you don't go and write, for example, about King Saud University or King Abdulaziz University. Okay, so you need to be relevant. This is what we mean by relevance. اللي هو الحاجة تبقى متعلقة بالموضوع. Right? So if you're doing research on a specific thing, you need to go and read about this specific thing and not something else. And this is probably what we're going to find when we start marking, and I'm starting tonight to mark your writing, and I'm going to see that some of you may leave the topic and talk about something else, right? You ask them to write about Chelsea, for example, and they write about Paris Saint-Germain, right? So that's why people need to invest the right amount of time reading the prompt or the title or the essay topic. It wouldn't harm, it wouldn't be a waste of time if you spend, more than 3 or 4 minutes reading the prompt, making sure that you understand it. Sometimes people even use pencils and pens, underlining the key words. This is also very important, so that you don't end up being branded as irrelevant or off topic. So you need to ask yourself whether the article is useful for your research. Again, this is an article that I would like you to read and decide for yourself, perhaps for next time, and see whether the article that you're going to read is relevant to the topic that we spoke about. Let's move on. It's a nice article, and I'm sure you're going to like it. Read it on your own, and let's discuss it tomorrow. So I'm going to leave the questions because you have to read the article first. And when you have read the article, I would like you to go back and answer these questions. Areas of similarity between millennials globally, areas of difference between millennials in different places, and the conclusions that the author arrived at, the author's final conclusions. When we meet again tomorrow, we're meeting again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll talk about statistics and how to compare figures, how to represent figures and talk about them using expressions like more, far, considerably, rather, much. We'll talk about slightly, a little, considerably, much. We'll talk about all of that tomorrow, inshallah, when we meet at 2 p.m. I think we have time for questions if you have any. So if you have any questions, come to the mic and share them with us. Yeah, I know it's a long day. I know, and I appreciate what you guys are going through. I mean, most of us are working professionals, and perhaps we are, some of us are already at work. I know, and I appreciate. طيب Unless you guys have any questions, we'll call it a night. Thank you for making the time, and I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.